How's it going, Photo Club members? And if you're not a member of the Photo Club, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and sign up at mightsoundwild.co or mightsoundwild.co to get exclusive discounts and offers and be eligible to sell products and prints in our store. Anyway, this week I want to talk to you about how we can get that film look or that film experience using simply our digital cameras. Now, I am a firm believer in making whatever you have work, but sometimes as artists or as creatives, we need a spark of inspiration that comes with trying to figure out a new gadget or a new product or a new lens or camera or whatever. And so as we're in the middle of our black and white film shootout or comparing some black and white films, I had the thought of, what if you don't have a film camera? What if you don't have access to buy a film camera? You don't have access to film or developing chemicals. And so one thing that I like to do, or one thing that I've done over the years, is adapting film lenses or older vintage lenses to my digital camera. Now, some of you might know that I shoot with the Fuji X-T3 pretty much exclusively when I shoot digital, and it already has that tactile film experience for the most part, but it still has those modern conveniences of manual or autofocus, and most of the time I have my shutter speed set to the dials here, and honestly the aperture's always been great. But one thing that I've done is I've grabbed a couple of adapters that will adapt film lenses to my digital camera. And as I was out kind of shopping around with my wife one day, I found 3 lenses at a thrift store for $15. Now, why anybody was selling these lenses for $15 is beyond me, but I jumped on the opportunity to grab them. I went on Amazon. They didn't even know what those lenses mount was, so I went on Amazon and I ordered one mount, tried it, another mount, tried it, and finally figured out that it is an Olympus OM mount. So I ended up grabbing a 28 millimeter 2.8, an 80 to 205 f3.8, and a 135 macro 2.8 for $15. Now, I don't have a lot of Fuji lenses, and one reason for that is I have this camera that I'm shooting on, my cinema camera, what I usually primarily for work, and it takes a Canon EF mount, and then I have a Fuji that takes a Fuji mount, and I really didn't want to invest in 2 different systems, and the lens that I have for my Fuji works perfectly fine for everything that I need to do, from shooting for shore shooters or freelance work or whatever. And so I've only ever had, where'd it go? I only ever had this 35 1.4, and it's been fine, it's been great. But sometimes I want to have the opportunity to try something different, or like a couple months ago, I was shooting for shore shooters, and I was asked to shoot a surprise proposal, and I didn't have a telephoto lens, but luckily I had just picked up the 80 to 205 f3.8 Olympus lens and my adapter, and shot the whole surprise proposal with this crazy vintage Olympus. And so what am I saying? I'm saying by taking a $15 gamble at a thrift store and buying I think it was $30 adapter, I took my one Fuji lens and turned it into 4 Fuji lenses. And then recently I bought, if you've paid attention to the film shoot, I bought this Bessa R, and lo and behold, they make an adapter from the Leica M39 screw mount to Fuji, and I think this cost $20. So I now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lenses. Now, granted, 5 of them are manual focus, but I now have 6 lenses for my Fujifilm that I would not normally have. I have a 50mm f2, a 28mm 2.8, an 80 to 205 3.8, a 135 2.8, and all of it I spent less than $200 on. Now let me show you some of those photos that I was talking about. I'm going to show you some photos of my son while we were at the park and he was playing with his friend, and show you, even though they're manual focus, you can create some killer images with just those cheap vintage manual focus lenses. I'll even show you that short shooter. Now, I really loved each and every one of those photos. I think they were killer. I had a great time shooting them, and I think it pushed me to become a better photographer. It allowed me to, if ever my autofocus goes out on any of my lenses, I'll be able to confidently say I can still shoot in manual focus. So grab a cheap lens, grab a cheap adapter, do whatever you can to challenge yourself this week and going into the fall. I mean, most of us are hitting a lull in our businesses. Most of us are finding ourselves with a little more time than we used to have, and maybe this could be your entry into film, is trying a vintage camera lens on your digital camera. But challenge yourself, and we want to see the results. Go ahead and hashtag MSW Photo Club on Instagram, or if you make a TikTok about it, hashtag MSW Photo Club, and tag us in the video, tag us in the photos at Might Sound Wild on Instagram or at Might Sound Wild on TikTok. We want to see what you guys are doing to challenge yourself, and we'll see you in the next meeting.